Is Barrell Bourbon's Batch 34, their first release of 2023, just as good as their last release of 2022? Let's find out. What's going on, everybody? Nathan here with the Everyday Drinker, bringing you guys a brand new video. Today we are doing a review of the Barrell Bourbon Batch 34, their first release of 2023. Barrell was kind enough to send me this bottle to do a review of. I kindly obliged, and here we are with a nice bottle of the Batch 34 to do a full review of and see if it compares anything to one of my absolute favorites, Batch 33, which is last year's last release. Let's dive into what exactly is inside of this bottle. So Batch 34 is a blend of 6, 8, 10, and 15-year-old bourbons. Just like always, it is a blend of Tennessee, Kentucky, and Indiana. And then this bottle is specifically bottled at 114.62 proof. We are going to be putting this bottle to the exact same scoring system that I have been doing every other bottle of this year so far. And we are going to see if this bottle scores super high or if it's just a run-of-the-mill bottle. Before we get into the nosing though, I just want to thank you guys so much for the love and support of the channel. Make sure you guys are liking, commenting, and subscribing if you're new. Helps the channel grow like you wouldn't believe. Also, check out the Patreon down below, growing like crazy. And if you want your Everyday Drinker apparel, go get your swag at the store down below. But without further ado, this has been breathing for a couple of minutes. Let's see what this nose is all about. It's a very, very floral nose right off of the bat. Wow, I'm getting a lot of sweet orange. There's a nutty aspect to this as well. Like not peanuts, but a little like more dense nuts. Like maybe pecans or cashews or something like that. There's a lot of cinnamon off of this nose. A spicy cinnamon. Wow, this is really nice. It's got a touch of a mint too, following it off the tail end of that nose. It doesn't smell at 114 proof either, or at that higher end of 114 proof. It's not, I mean, there's no like strong sweetness coming off of this. It's more of that spice floralness. This is completely different than the last one I did, the Bardstown Weeded, where that was just sweet forward. And then the Bardstown High Rye, that one was a lot of chocolate malt, very, very malty, chocolatey espresso, coffee-like. This one's very floral. It's very, very orange zest forward. It's got that sweetness, but then also has that spice from the cinnamon. It has that spice from the cinnamon coming off of it, which is very, very pleasant. I mean, I'm getting a touch of like a maple coming off of there now, as this sits and breathes for a little bit longer. No off-putting bitterness coming off of this. Very, very pleasant. I think initial nose, I'm gonna have to give it a 7. 7 out of 10, in my opinion, is just, I mean, it's up there, you know? I mean, if you're above a 6, that's darn good stuff. Enough of the nose, though. Let's see what this thing tastes like. Holy cow. Candy apple. It's like a candy apple, caramel sauce, and then it's got this like this grapiness, like a grape soda almost. And you get that candy apple off of the initial palate. Mid palate, this grape soda. Very interesting. It's thick, covers the entire palate. The initial palate is super sweet, like that candy apple that I said. That grape comes through, and that finishes off. And it's just all around sweet on the palate, where on the nose, it was spicy, but on the palate, there's not a lot of spice on this. I'm getting like this, I'm getting the residual sugars on my lips, and it's almost like a maple syrup almost in a way. That's incredible. Wow, that is incredible. This is reminding me of, it's literally right in front of me here, these black walnut bitters. It's a black walnut bitter in a glass. And if I were to compare it to one of those wetter nuts that I was talking about, it would 100% be walnuts in this glass. Holy cow. That is just insane. And then it's got that maple syrup aspect coming off of it. It's almost, it's like you covered like ice cream with maple syrup, and you had the wet walnuts. I mean, it's absolutely fantastic. I mean, look at the glass. It is just holding those legs like crazy. It's thick. It's viscous. It's everything you want in a glass. And I mean, when they blend from Tennessee, it's Dickel. 99% of the time, it's Dickel. There's no Dickel minerality coming out of this bottle. It is all Super, super sweet maple syrup, brown sugar. It's got that molasses. It's got that apple pie, that candied apple. It's got a little bit of that grape soda forward coming through. I'm going to give this palate a 9. This is a 9 out of 10 palate. And I mean, going right from the palate to the finish is still going on in my mouth. I mean, it is just it's a residual sugar sweetness that is just sitting on my tongue. It sits on your lips. Off of this glass right now, I am just getting that maple syrup and that walnut. And it is absolutely insane. This glass is just breathing so beautifully. And going into that finish, I mean, there's nothing that is off-putting from the finish as well. And it gets a little bit dry at the end, and I enjoy that a lot. I mean, there is absolutely no burn whatsoever when this goes down. And on that finish, it is just super sweet, and it is enjoyable. And I think on the finish, I'm gonna have to give it an 8.5. Now moving into obtainability. I know a lot of people can find these all over the place. I know as soon as the batch comes out, it's a little bit more difficult to find, but after a while, they do sit on the shelves. I think for the obtainability, I'm gonna have to give that a 3.5. Now, value-wise, even though this has a 15-year bourbon blended inside of it, I'm not quite sure how much of a percentage that bourbon is in this bottle. Barrell also is a higher priced bottle. You know, they go for that $75 to $90 range. But I think for what you get out of this glass, out of this bottle, it's inside this bottle, for that price, it's actually one of the best ones that they've released. And I think value-wise, for the flavor in this specific bottle, I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5. So with everything added up, this barrel bourbon has now scored the highest. Now I know we've only done a couple of reviews, but this has scored a score of 32 out of 40. And I wouldn't take a point away from any one of those bullets at all. I mean, everything about this bourbon right here is absolutely fantastic. And the nose is just opening up even more beautifully. Unbelievable. Guys, when you see this batch 34 on the shelves, snag it. I mean, you can see I've snagged 31, 32, and 33 from last year, and I will be sure to snag another bottle of this 34 because it is, in my opinion, better than all 3 of those released last year. It is a darn good bottle, and I will recommend it to absolutely anybody who has a question about this bottle. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Let me know down in the comments if you have seen the Barrell Batch 34 out in the wild yet. Not quite sure if it has been released fully throughout the country, but let me know what your thoughts about this bottle are down below. Until next time, this has been Nathan with The Everyday Drinker. Cheers.